Hey guys, thanks for stopping by my channel. I've been wanting to make this video for a little while. It is something that I get asked about a lot, and I mean in my personal life, between messages on YouTube or any kind of social media, people that know that I'm like a huge candle collector and body care and all that. And it's one of those things, this video is basically my personal opinion, just an FYI, anything I have to say is my personal opinion, and also anything that I pull that is factual about either company is anything you could get off of the physical product, off their website, that I've gathered from talking to employees at the different stores. So anything I talk about that's not a basic fact about a product is completely my own opinion. Everyone has a right to agree or not agree. I just kind of I've been asked this a lot about who do I like better, Yankee Candle or Bath & Body Works when it comes to home fragrance. And basically, I am split down the middle, and originally I was going to be on this video, but I tend to get really distracted easy if I start to wonder if I look stupid or if I'm making a stupid face. So it's just easier for me to talk like I kind of normally do behind camera. And that's why you'll just be staring at my candles. As you can see from my two cabinets I have from top to bottom, they're literally split down the middle. There's Bath & Body Works on one side, there's Yankee Candle on the other. So it's one of those things that I do love both companies. I make videos about both companies, and you know, that's obvious. It looks like I have more Bath & Body Works. I believe that I actually do, just because they end up being cheaper most of the time. But we'll get to that. I'll get to the pricing and everything. But these two cabinets I have are about 90% of my collection. I have a few Christmas spillovers in the closet, and I have a cabinet behind me that has like all the random sizes, like smaller tumblers and things like that. These two cabinets house my 1-wick original jars of Yankee Candle and just the traditional 3-wick 14.5 ounce from Bath & Body Works. So basically we'll just kind of start with the companies in general. Yankee Candle has been around longer, but their sole purpose is home fragrance. So when you go to Bath & Body Works, I've been shopping there since they opened in the 90s. I was a teenager. My sister was older than me. She bought stuff from there. I, in turn, would learn what was what, and I would purchase from there. And that's kind of where my fascination all began, is the body care that's at Bath & Body Works. So keep that in mind when comparing Yankee Candle versus Bath & Body Works' candles, is Bath & Body Works that's not really their forte. It's awesome they've included it over these years, but you've got to remember, at the end of the day, it's Bath & Body Works. They haven't changed their name to Bath, Body & Home or anything like that. Their forte is still trying to give you the best body care products and, that kind of thing. So it's just, that's their focus. Of course, they've, slowly over the years, they added the anti-bac soaps, which now they're not anti-bac, but, soaps in general for, cleansing your hands, that kind of soap. Then they've, added a whole section to home fragrance. If you go in there now, my store has laid out where it has two sides, two entrances that are obviously connected, but one side is home fragrance, one side is still the Bath & Body Works you knew probably in the 90s. I don't really remember the year they really started adding candles. I mean, I do remember them being around when I was in high school, which was in like the 2000 range. But, I was younger. I lived with my parents. It wasn't something I got into. So, it's a very recent development compared to Yankee Candle, who's been around since, I think, the 70s, and that's their whole purpose. They make home fragrance. So, naturally, if you just go by comparison of a candle, cold sniff, what do you think? Yankee's probably going to be a little better just on the general observation of a candle. But there's so many ways you can break down the two companies, and that's kind of my purpose of this, is to talk about the different pros and cons to each one. So starting with that, Yankee has a very good variety of fragrances to pick from. They've never repackaged from what I've ever known, even if you get 10 that are such a similar, like a Christmas tree scent, for instance. They may have 10, 20 different versions, but they are all different, whether they throw the pine cone and lime in with it, whether it has more of a holly kind of fragrance to it, whether it's a genuine spruce, or they do something to kind of tweak it, add cherry, add something to make it a little different from the next one. So they are good about making diverse fragrances, whereas recently is where Bath & Body Works has hit a snag where they recycle everything, repackage everything. But again, it's one of those pros and cons amongst themselves because it's apparently working, and that's why they're continuing to do it. You know, I guess us super fans that actually go on social media and YouTube and like watch videos and make videos about it get a little aggravated because we're so passionate. But I guess at the end of the day, if I were a company, a successful company, and the occasional purchaser that's scrolling by, maybe hasn't been in a while, said, hey, Mother's Day's this weekend, my mom might like a pretty candle. And they just so happen to pick one of the few they always make, lilac blossom, mahogany teak wood, and then the ones that are, you know, like Paris Daydream that have been a billion different things. But that's what that fragrance I identify it with as Paris Daydream. Like those kind of fragrances, they go, oh, this would be pretty, I'll get it, and they're done. They're not necessarily the repurchaser, the person like us who waits for collections, for seasons, you know, for Italian collection, Hawaiian collection, the by the lake house, whatever it was, collection, French ones, you know, Christmas ones. Like, we wait for each season, and like we basically sit by our emails or the people we know that work there, and we like wait till we find out the next thing because we're super fans about it. And unfortunately, that hurts us a little bit because unless there's just one that we absolutely love, which is kind of rare, you know, it's a bummer for us because we don't get a lot of diversity that we would choose as a customer to have. So that is a pro and con to Bath & Body Works in their home fragrance amongst themselves. It seems to be working, or else they wouldn't keep doing it, but it makes us super fans pissed off because we're tired of the exact same stuff. And when you kind of think of it, we think, oh, well, we definitely put a lot of money in this company. We are the ones who would make large purchases and would, you know, used to call in and order the whole line that just came out, 20 candles or however many it was, and all that jazz. So that's a bummer, whereas Yankee still has never really done that. Now, what they like to do is retire a fragrance, call it a treasure, and then they like to pop it out every now and again, which is great. So if there is one that you did really love, it's very rare you're never going to see it again. But it's, you know, kind of like Disney movies going in the vault. You may just have to wait a little while is kind of all that it is. So that's the actual fragrances that are into the products. Now, as far as your selection of products, Yankee obviously has a little more size charts to go by because they have their paraffin wax, then they have their mixture of soy and paraffin, which is like the smooth wax. So they have 3 sizes in the traditional, 3 sizes in that. Then they have the smaller stuff, like they have tarts and votives, and they have tea lights they do. They're going to have more to pick from because that's their specialty. Whereas Bath & Body Works used to have a bit, like more than what they do now. I actually still have a huge stash of, like, you know, wax melts that I never want to get rid of because they'll probably never come back. But they're more on the basic side. They just have they've changed it. So they have their large and their tea light sizes, their individual tea lights. They burn longer than the little, like, basic plastic ones you think of. But, and then now they have that middle one that's just kind of a mason jar type size. It's considerably their medium, but they changed the style of it here and there, the pricing of it here and there. They have some that are still a glass, just kind of a cylinder shape that are just kind of a pillar. And that's really all they have. And then they have the wallflowers, which are just in general, but then the rest is mostly what they focus on, which is their Bath & Body products. So obviously if you're looking for more, you know, to pick from, if you really want to layer your home out, Yankee does kind of win that battle too, as far as having, if you want to plug in, I forgot what they actually, I guess it's just plug-ins, because it's not wallflowers, because that's Bath & Body Works' term. But their plug-ins they have, you could plug that in and have tea lights and have a smooth wax, which is going to burn a little faster, or the traditional one if you're old school and you like it to have a slow burn. they have a lot of different levels you can pick from, even their little fragrance beads sometimes, like to layer your house. So there again, Yankee has a little bit of a leg up because that's their purpose. They have way more to pick from. So getting into like sales and coupons is a little more, that's also frustrating in a way. That's one of the pros and cons to each one. They both have a semi-annual sales, which is great, twice a year. If you want to not pay full price for something you've had your eye on, and a collection you know may go 75% off at Yankee or might be $8 candles at Bath & Body Works. Unfortunately, both companies used to have very, very phenomenal semi-annual sales, and now they kind of don't. They used to be great. They would have both of them would have a lot in 75% off bins and things like that. Yankee, they still do it, but it's very hard, and they sell out very fast. So they might have a specific collection like Easter or something, and you'll find it the day after Christmas. You might find it it's just kind of really random. But it's a good find when you find it. Bath & Body Works, as far as their candles go, which that's what I'm trying to stick to, is, they used to do 75% off and half off. Then they kind of changed it to dollars, where it's like 12, 10. They used to have $8 and $7 candles, but not really anymore. Now, I really never have seen it less than about 10 or 12. If they go 8, it's usually right before Christmas, which unfortunately, though, that's what's out that time of year, is the holiday fragrances that you may or may not want. It's hard to find ones that, you're going to be able to burn later on, such as, Caribbean Escape. Not that anybody loves that one, but just, that collection aren't usually out just yet when they're that cheap. So both of their semi-annual sales have really just dried up a little bit. They just haven't really been as stellar as they used to be, but they do still have them. So there is the plus to both of them. As far as couponing goes, both of them are generous with coupons. You can never Google or get an email that has something, whether it's 25% off, whether it's buy one, get one, $10 off 30, 20% off, or buy one, get one half off, that kind of stuff. There's always something. And my biggest thing is, and I've mentioned this in several videos, I've only ever paid full price for one candle, actually two, one from each company actually. The first one I ever got from Bath & Body Works was Pink Sangria. My husband bought it. We were shopping on our anniversary, and that's where it kind of started for me because I loved that. It's really my favorite candle from there, period. And that kind of started the fascination with starting to really buy candles from there. He paid full price because back then we didn't really know the sales. That back then they were 2 for $20, that kind of stuff. So after that, I've never paid full price. Yankee, the only one I've ever paid full price there from is the Boston Strong one, which came out back in 2012 when the Boston Marathon, the bombing that happened there. And it was one that's like a limited edition online, so I did pay full price for that one because it was such a special one. And that's it. Every other candle I've ever bought has been in semi-annual sales, regular couponing, or, with Bath, it's 2 for, 24 now. Yankee, my best thing, I like to wait for them now, are their friends and family sales or employee sales, whatever you call it, where they're 60% off as long as you get 6 of them. And, I go in with my family, so I can actually get as little or as many as I want without feeling like I have to cap a certain amount. But basically, you'll find coupons any given time from either company, so that, saving money right there, both of them do pretty well. I don't like, buy two get ones at Yankee. I would rather the buy two get two, and I will wait for it, or I'll wait for the friends and family to come around. Bath & Body, theirs is pretty obvious every time. It's 2 for whatever. Used to be 20, then 22. Now they've just gone to 24, and it's obviously not going to move from that because they did that after Christmas, and here it is May, and they haven't changed it. So that's unfortunate. But both companies have gone up on their prices. Yankee does it every several years. I remember when they used to be like $24.99 or $25.99. Now they're $27.99. The Bath & Body Works seems to go up almost $1 every year, which doesn't sound like very much, but when you realize you've been collecting 4 or 5 whatever years, it starts to really add up, which is a bummer. So I feel like, again, Yankee has a little bit of a leg up with their pricing, and the other reason for that is how much product in these two candles compared to each other you're really getting, because the large the 3 wicks at Bath & Body Works burn, they used to say 30 to 45 hours, and I've noticed like newer candles and everything, still they say 25 to 45, which kind of is a decline, and it makes you kind of wonder because they both use lead-free wicks, and which Bath & Body Works doesn't really have any format to helping even burns and that stuff, which is, I mean, both companies do have trouble with that. But when you're comparing 2 candles for $24, okay, you are getting at best 45 hours. That's their best number they're going to give you. Whereas even though Yankees, if you do like a buy one get one there and you're paying $28, you get 100 to 110 to 150 hours of burn time. That's where I like stick my nose into the business. Like that's where I decide which company I really like the best. And my personal taste is, yes, I do like Yankee Candle better than Bath & Body Works, simply because of the value versus like how much I'm going to get out of the same money I could spend at Bath & Body Works, if you guys kind of catch that. It's just, you're getting triple the burn time in one candle as one from Bath & Body Works, whereas pretty much those are identical deals. It's a few dollars, $3 difference. But you're getting a lot more, and they're going to have similar fragrances. But kind of scaling back to the scents and everything, the fragrance in general, there have been complaints and whatnot between both companies where a lot of people say they feel like Yankees are a lot lighter, they're harder to smell. And to me, when you pick up their candles, at least the traditional one-wick ones, you can tell from, if you have to just step away or as close to their door as you can so you're not smelling everything, because it really can impact what you think of something when you're in the store and it's overpowering everything you smell. It smells different when you get home. So if it's very light and you're not getting a whole lot, like you have to shove your face in there, you feel like, to get it, it's going to be light. They stick with what you're smelling. Ones like Cotton Candy or Beach Walk, they're very light, pretty but light. So those, you can choose to take a gamble with it, but just reserve it for a bedroom, a smaller space, or do like I do and really pay attention to where you pluck them in your house. I like to put mine near the air conditioning vent because it pulls through, it helps circulate throughout the house. But it's just one of those things where if it's really overpowering, it's probably going to be really good when it's burning. Bath & Body Works says, I've never really had one that I didn't really smell. But they're made differently. They have what they call a exclusive like vegetable wax, which it's, I can't really say it's soy. I don't really know. I've actually tried to do research about it, and I can't really find a lot because vegetable wax is just kind of a general thing. But it's stronger. Like the type of wax they use, but the other thing is they use fragrance oils, which are going to be more powerful. So that's where Bath & Body Works has a little bit of a leg up, is they use fragrance oils, whereas Yankee uses essential. And essential is just not going to be quite as bold. It's not going to be as fragrant as a fragrance oil. So again, you're really it's apples and oranges comparing the two. It just comes down to who has a good sale, who has, which ones have you known to work, and stay away from ones don't. So it's just kind of tricky to... to me, it really is apples and oranges. As you can see, I have 2 cabinets full of each company. So, I obviously like both. But if someone told me I could only burn one company the rest of my life, then I would pick Yankee, just because I would get way more out of it in the long run, and I wouldn't have, repackaged fragrances over and over and over again. Like, I would always have diversity. So that's the only reason I would pick that. But Bath & Body Works, I just feel like they've really made a lot of fans upset because they keep repackaging. The candles have gone up to 2 for $24, which sucks. And then they got rid of survey coupons, which really aggravated me, because it sucks when, you take the surveys from fans and give them 10 off of 30, and you do it for so long, even at Victoria's Secret as well, which it was off of 50, but... it sucks when you depend on that, and that I would save those for candle sales, and then they got rid of it. So it's a bummer. So that way now you're kind of stuck with when they're 2 for $24, they may only have like 20% off, which is better than nothing. I mean, I will give them that. It's just not as good as when you used to get the 3 candles and you took off 10, so it was almost like getting that third one free. And you know, that's just kind of how it goes. And I know this video is like 20 minutes, but I knew this was going to be a discussion. I mean, I knew I wanted to talk about the basic things from each company, because it really, really is apples compared to oranges. Again, my personal opinion is just the simple facts of, you know, the fragrances and how they work in my home and that kind of stuff. But the facts are on the bottom of the candles: what kind of wax they use, what kind of oils they use, and the burn time. So that's, you know, you can make your educated choice, or you can say, well, I've never, the pun intended, been burned by Bath & Body Works or Yankee or whoever. You know, then go with your gut. Go with where you've never felt like you've been wasted money on. Because at the end of the day, we are consumers. Like, we are, you know, using hard-earned money to purchase candles, which seems really, really ridiculous, but it's just one of those passions that everybody has a passion somewhere, and it's just a matter of how you do it. I mean, my husband loves to collect World War II, like, surplus stuff, you know, things from, you know, bags and uniforms and weapons, that kind of cool stuff. My dad's an avid music collector, collects records. My mom likes going on eBay and getting old Barbie stuff. You know, friends of mine, he has a Volkswagen Beetle. He likes to work on it and gets parts. You know, it's just everybody has a passion for something. Some people spend more money than others. Some people, it's considerably more useless than others. But at the end of the day, you know, that's what makes all of us feel good at the end of the day. You work hard, you earn money, and sometimes you just want to purchase things that make you feel good. And for me, and most people, fragrances are actually a trigger for memories. And so when you grow up smelling something, or, you know, you go on your first date and this happened to be the smell in the background, like, it does not matter where you are and how old you are, it will trigger it. So to me, it's super fun. Whenever and if ever we have children and I burn these constantly, I hope they kind of, when they smell stuff, they'll think of their family and they'll think of their home, because it's such a trigger for a memory that they would have. And so that's why I like it. That's why I've always been so passionate about it. My parents, they weren't near what I did, but they did burn a lot of stuff growing up. And I loved it. It felt like home. It smelled like home because it always smelled great. And of course, certain ones at Christmas time, you really freak out at Christmas time. And that's just kind of, you know, that's my personal sway on it. I love both companies, so I can't really pick like a winner here, because I obviously shop at both and I burn both. I mean, there's problems with both. Sometimes Yankee's little wick wants to slide to the side. Sometimes Bath & Body Works is one a tunnel. You're going to have trouble. They're not perfect. But for people that feel like they don't want to take the time to make it burn evenly or kind of fix it, then take it to the store. Both companies have the 100% customer satisfaction. So I just don't do it. I would rather just spend the few extra minutes of just, you know, kind of tweaking it, wrapping foil around it, making sure my Aluma-Lid's on it, or, you know, taking a knife and scraping the edges down till it evens on its own. That's just me, because I don't want to cry wolf so much. And then, you know, they do have red flag lists at the stores that if someone abuses a privilege, then they won't let them really do it anymore. Or, you know, it's not that you can't, but if you just go in there every single purchase, you know, it's especially when other people, if everybody was doing it, then yeah, they would figure something out. But they're not going to when it's, you know, some people are just having bad luck, or they just happen to be burning way more than what the average consumer does. So it looks like you're that person that's always complaining, and it's, you know, not that anyone is wrong. It's just, I choose personally to just deal with it. I just kind of, I've learned techniques to make it work, and I've never really had problems with fragrances. Some people really, really hate that, but I mean, I guess I just know what candles are going to work in what space in my home, so I kind of pick what's going to go where, depending on how light and how heavy it is. So that's just my personal stance. And so again, it's like been 25 minutes of me talking, and you know, that's just how it goes when you discuss the difference between Bath & Body Works and Yankee Candle. But at the end of the day, just remember, Bath & Body Works is not Bath, Body, and Home Works. Like, they're designed for Bath and Body. So they do great. I'm glad they make candles. I hope they keep making them. It's just a matter of, I wish they would get a company in like Slatkin was, where they have a good team. I feel like if they had a good team, they would really, really knock it out of the park. But until then, I don't go there as often anymore as compared to Yankee, because they make new stuff. But that's my personal taste. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. I know it's just apples to oranges, but, you know, hopefully somebody kind of figured out something they didn't know before, and that way you can better make your judgment calls when you're wanting to know which store is for you. But as always, thanks for coming by. Comment, rate, subscribe if you want to, and I will talk to you guys later. Thanks for stopping by. Bye.